Alright folks, I'm going to work on my air compressor. I've already drained the air out of it and I've drained the water out of it. There's quite a bit. It's been like a year since I've done it. You're supposed to do it every week, but you know, it happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is reach up here and just unplug it. This thing is 240 volts. You really don't want that to get a hold of you. I've have this regulator here and it's missing its metal cover, so I just electric taped a piece of plastic over the wires, but you really don't want that. It is completely empty, but my air gauge is bent right here, so it doesn't go down below 40. So I'm going to look at going over to Harbor Freight and getting a new one of those and getting that replaced with one that's accurate. This is just a cheapy Harbor Freight one I've had on there for a few years. I don't know how that panel in there got bent, but it did. So we'll go ahead and pull this plug and drain the oil out of it. Now they're not a combustion engine, so the oil doesn't get real dirty in it. I can see from the little window here, it's just about dead on, but it's a little low. This does leak some oil, and so you have to, you know, the seals aren't available for this compressor anymore. They don't make them, so it has a leaking main seal, so we just have to deal with that. But the thing works great, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a big hex and try to pull that out of there. Alright, I got my hex sockets here. Let's see which size that one is. These are my standards. I don't think it's a metric. Nope, it's that size right there. Let me flip the ratchet. Oh. Those are orders in there. It was probably in there too tight. Alright, I got me a little coffee cup here to grab the oil that comes out. I don't know if these take a special kind of oil. This oil doesn't look too dirty or anything, but it does break down over time. So we'll just let this drain out. It looks like it's going to fill up this cup, so I'm going to have to put the plug back in. Oh shoot, it's draining down here too. It happens. We'll spray this all down with some brake clean when we're done. Let me see if there's any more in here. Oh yeah, there's more. Okay, that's good enough. So let me get some brake clean. Clean this all off real good. Oh well, as long as it's clean. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is pull this air filter off and take a look at that. Yeah, we'll clean that out a little bit and we'll get it put back in. Okay, that pretty much cleaned this out, so we'll tuck this back in here. And this is just a couple of different pieces of sponge that I had. that would fit in this plastic thing. Okay. Let me get this bolt back in here. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Oh, let me get the nuts. There. Put that one in. Okay. It really took the paint off that brake clean right there. Well, as much oil as this thing leaks, I don't see that as being a rust problem. Okay, so we'll go ahead and tighten up our oil plug here. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has a little window down here that shows you the dot in the middle of it's where the oil is supposed to go to. And the oil fills up. Let me take you over here and show you. The oil actually fills up right behind here. Can't really see it. But you take this off, and then there's an oil spot. So we'll stick our funnel in here. We'll start with a 1/2 quart and see what that gets us on that window. But remember, you have to go kind of slow with it because it'll leak out. Yeah, you have to go slow. All right, that's about a 1/2 quart. So let's see where that's at on the window over here. Oh, that's dead on. It's dead on. Perfect. Okay, we'll take that out. Find the oil cap. What I do with it. There it is. See, the little oil cap is the vent for the crankcase. I guess you call it a crankcase on this. I don't know. It's a piston case. I don't know what it is. It doesn't really crank. It's a pressure case. I don't know. So I'll put that back in. Oh, let me get my towel. Wipe down this oil that spilled out. What we're gonna do is just wipe this tank down with a little oil to keep it from rusting where the paint came off. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I need to take this gauge off of here, and I'll take you around and show you. This gauge right back here needs to come off, and I'll have to go to Harbor Freight here and get another one. Here's a 14 millimeter. Let's try that. Yeah. We'll just turn this out. And see, now it went down to 0. But I don't know if you can tell, but it's got that little raised background on it. And I'm not going to take it apart or mess with it. It's probably not a big deal because it normally stays up here in the hundreds, but it's not going all the way to 0 either. So I think this gauge has had enough. And we'll go get us another one. I don't think Harbor Freight opens till 9. It's like 8:30, but by the time I get ready and go over there, they should be open. Alright, so I went to Harbor Freight. They didn't have the cheaper gauge, but they had this Merlin one for $6.99. It looks like a pretty good gauge. We're going to put that on. And they gave me a free set of useless wrenches. And by useless, I mean it has a 7mm and an 8, which you can use sometimes. But it doesn't have 15, 16, and it doesn't have an 18. So maybe these will work for a Honda, but they won't work if you do GMs. But I always take a free set of wrenches. I can cut these up and modify them, use them to do, you know, special tasks. So I'll take them if they're free, but they want $10 for these normally. It's not really a set I would buy unless I was looking to replace a missing one or something maybe. But I usually buy wrenches that come in complete sets, like Cobalt's or some other brands. Although I bought that Hyper Tough set for my tool cart, but at least it came with a 15. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this gauge on and see if we can get this compressor fired up. Alright, so we got our Merlin gauge here. We got this put on. I hope it still takes a 14. Let's see. Let's see if the 14 fits it. Yes, okay. So I'm going to get some Teflon tape and put on this. I think that's right. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Now we got a 14 wrench and just tighten her in here. All right, that should be good. So now I got to get down here and close. I'll close the main valve there. I have a main valve right here. I'll close that and we'll get down at the bottom and close the valve. There's all the water that came out of it, quite a bit. Now we'll just turn this main little valve here. I don't know, I gotta figure out which way it goes. I think it goes that way. Okay, we're all set there. I'll go ahead and just snug it up a little bit with the channel locks just to make sure she's good and snug. And now we're ready to fire it up. So I'll go ahead and plug her back in here first. Alright, now I'm ready to go over and switch on my breaker. Alright, the oil's good. Let's flip her on. I'm going to let it run and build up pressure and then check the oil again and see where we're at. All right, she finished filling up just right at 100 pounds is where I run her. So I'm going to go ahead and check the oil again. It looks about dead on. She sounds just a little more rattly than she normally does. That pipe gets hot, compressing all that air. So we will go ahead and just put a little more oil in her. You see this quite a bit more. All right, there's a quart. Mine is sweat leaked out. I have to be careful though. This is plugged in and the breaker's on. Don't want to get shocked. All right. She is done. She's ready to run for another year now. We'll take my little adapter off to bleed the air out. Put on my main air hose. We'll go ahead and hang my hose up. We're set. She's still, where I fill that up with oil, a lot of it leaks out and it just drains down here. But it's good enough for now. So I got that air compressor free. So I know she got a lot of miles on her and oil leaks and problems, and she's pretty old. They quit making parts for her. I think she was made back in the 80s. But she still works, and I still use it until it don't work. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, Frugal Prepper.